Day Gamage, Asian Tribune U.S. Bureau Report Washington, D.C. The 3rd of September, AsianTribune.com, since a white police officer, 6 months ago, killed a black man pressing a leg for 8 minutes on his neck until in his dying moment when he grasped "I can't breathe," and Black American took to streets nationwide under the banner Black Lives Matter, the race relations between the blacks and the whites were gradually deteriorating for President Donald Trump to use it as a political slogan, indirectly appealing to the white voters, and his opponent Democratic Party presidential nominee Joe Biden. Some were buried in the political upheaval that has now led to arson and violence. Class equals caption align equals right greater than since the black man was killed 6 months ago. Several black persons were brutally killed by police officers who happened to be white. In Kenosha a week ago, a black youth was shot in the back when was trying to get into his vehicle that had his 3 minor children in the back seat. Almost every major city in the United States Black Lives Matter demonstrations erupted, with very few whites joining, sometimes leading to burning and looting of business places, which President Trump has taken some advantage to attack his presidential opponent Joe Biden to canvass more white evangelical votes to win this November. In his surprise victory in November 2016 beating Hillary Clinton, Donald Trump had a base of 35% white evangelical votes, and opinion polls say he is still holding onto it. But with new opinion polls favoring Democrat Joe Biden to win this November, Trump is using the violence and arson now in many cities to collect more white votes for him to win his second term. It is amidst this scenario that many research and opinion polls have declared that the relations between the whites and black have deteriorated in recent months. The irony is that it is the United States, at all times going back to 100 years or so, advocated race relations to other foreign nations as a prime foreign policy plank, now unable to establish reconciliation between the two major races. In fact, the U.S. Department of State joined the Norwegian facilitator in the 2002 to 2005 peace negotiations advocating race relations and reconciliation between the Sinhalese and Tamils is still remembered by Sri Lankans. But it is interesting to note that since the 1983 riots against the Tamil minority, the Sinhalese never got involved in any violence against the Tamil minority, and that more than 50% of minority Tamils are living among the Sinhalese in southern districts away from the Tamil majority north. In the United States, despite structural race discrimination against the minority blacks in the form of employment, housing, health, and education, now the white-black animosity has been displayed openly in the past several months. The worst was on September 2 when whites and blacks were involved in a street battle in a major city in the state of Wisconsin, the city of Kenosha. With that, it was well displaced the start of the deterioration between the two ethnic groups, their sinking of race relations between the blacks and white in America. Americans' already tepid review of relations between white and black Americans has soured since 2018 and is now the most negative of any year in Gallup's trend since 2001. The majority of U.S. adults say relations between white and black Americans are very, 24%, or somewhat bad, 31%. Most Americans were upbeat about white-black relations from 2001 through 2013, with the percentage calling them good to any degree ranging from 63% to 72%. The sharp decline in positive perceptions to 47% in 2015 followed numerous high-profile incidents in the prior year of unarmed black citizens being killed by white police officers. After improving slightly in 2016 and 2018, ratings of race relations have fallen to a new low in a Gallup telephone poll conducted June 8 to July 24, 2020. The nationally representative survey of 1,226 U.S. adults includes an oversample of black Americans weighted to their correct proportion of the population. The latest poll was taken after the start of widespread protests on racial justice sparked by the death of George Floyd in Minneapolis in May, but before the recent shooting of Jacob Blake in Kenosha, Wisconsin, and political conflict in Portland, Oregon, that have led to deaths among protesters and counter-protesters. Positive ratings of white-black relations have deteriorated slightly more in the past 18 months among white Americans, down 8 percentage points to 46%, than among black Americans, down 4 points to 36%. The figure among white Americans roughly matches the prior low of 45% recorded in 2015, while black Americans' perceptions are the lowest yet. White-black relations were not the only pairing to show a decline in 2020 compared with the average from 2015 to 2018, although white-black relations are rated significantly worse now than other intergroup pairings. This has not always been the case. On average, between 2001 and 2013, white-black relations were rated similarly to white-Hispanic relations and better than black-Hispanic relations. That changed in 2015 as nationwide protests brought greater attention to racial disparities in the use of lethal force by police. Throughout Gallup's measurement of racial/ethnic group relations since 2001, ratings of relations between white and Asian Americans have been rated best, with more than 3/4 of the public consistently calling them good. There is no right or perfect way to say objectively whether relations between large subgroups of the American population are healthy or frayed. But polls can measure different aspects of such relations, including the extent to which racial groups interact in various settings and how each group feels about those experiences. When it comes to white-black relations, one such indicator involves black Americans' reports of feeling they have been unfairly treated in each of several public situations, in stores, at work, in dealings with the police, and so on. Gallup's recent finding that nearly half of black Americans felt unfairly treated in at least one set in the past month suggests relations are far from perfect. Another indicator of the health of race relations is how Americans themselves assess those relations when asked directly. On that basis, Gallup finds that even before the situation in Kenosha erupted, white-black relations were at a 2-decade low, with black Americans even less positive than white Americans. This contrasts with Americans' more positive reviews of the state of relations between other racial/ethnic groups. Asian Tribune. Let's block ads. Why?
Show your love for him. Click the link in description. Thanks for watching.